Really, if you don't like capitalism, there are socialist societies out there, but you can see how they fare between us and them. Like, yeah, it could be better, like, overall. In socialism, everyone's kind of like the same. Everyone's kind of well off. If you're poor, you're like actually stuck out. At least you have a chance in capitalism to make it out.
When it comes to socialism, I just think that there's a lid. That's how I see it. I think there's like still the top, and you can push only so hard, and at the end of the day, there will still be a lid. And with capitalism, there is no lid.
So
I mean, is that a good thing?
Arguing for a market-based system that has enough regulations and encourages democratic ownership of the means of production, democracy, which our country is founded upon, to help prevent the negative externalities of capitalism that we're all suffering under, except for the ultra-wealthy.
I have to audio tune his video because he puts that so loud.
Okay. Hi, my name's Kate. I live in Los Angeles, California, and I'm going to be arguing in favor of capitalism.
Hi, I'm Hunter. I'm
in favor of capitalism? Oh, she's based. Let's go.
And I'm arguing that a system with more ownership by workers is a better alternative to capitalism.
So I think capitalism is the best form of system because historically, countries that have free market economy have had better GDP, have had more competition as a result because there's more companies, and as a result, those companies created better products because consumers responded to the products that they wanted to buy. So it created more competition. It's a better overall economy, and it has led to a better form of level for everybody as far as living.
Countries Discord.
That have historically lower GDP.
Wait, was that on Discord? No, it was on some weird videos. I don't know. I think it was his like domain. I don't know.
More centralized economy, for example, such as North Korea, Cuba, when the government gets involved, unfortunately, it creates less incentive for competition, and overall, there's not as much
which is probably
want
true.
to improve the product, and they don't necessarily listen to their customers, and as a result, people have worse product and worse GDP and just overall a worse quality of life.
My fundamental argument is that every positive benefit of capitalism that Kate laid out can be attributed not to capitalism, but to a market-based economy. I'm arguing for a system that is, while under a market, a worker ownership-based system. Capitalism is the private ownership of the means of production to allow for capital accumulation by private individuals.
Yes.
Socialism is merely social ownership of the means of production, whether by workers, whether by the state, or whether by communities. So I'm arguing for things like worker cooperatives. And the reason why I'm arguing for this is fourfold. For one, it is more effective.
The thing is, would she actually disagree with that, or was she just in favor of capitalism as it is, as it stands? Does she not want any? Well, the thing is, capitalism the best system, not like socialism versus what you call it. I don't know.
Things like worker cooperatives. And the reason why I'm arguing for this is fourfold. For one, it is more effective for certain things to not be a market and certain markets to be markets. Secondarily, under almost every metric that we can measure, worker cooperatives are more effective in a market-based system than traditional capitalist firms. Thirdly, the wealth accumulation by the billionaire class in America is destroying our society. And fourthly,
that's not the only reason, but it is displaying to it.
Bribery and partnerships between corporations and the government, which is allowing for the creation of a mass surveillance state that is spying on American citizens.
Spying?
I think that
all right, let's see.
Worker-based system.
Which, okay, well, he'll expand on it.
Has a couple flaws. One of the flaws that I would think of, for example, it would be hard to scale. So if you have a company that's only purely controlled by the workers, it would be a lot harder to scale because you have to make a decision that's basically unanimous or that fits all the investors. So hard to scale, that's one. And that's one of the things why I think capitalism works so well because
bro, I didn't even know, like, bone dice. I've never seen that. You don't even know what to get anymore. Like, I forgot my best things. I don't even know what to do.
For to scale a lot quicker, it allows companies to
internet
and to spread a lot better and quicker. And another problem with that would be is as far as investors. So, for example, if you're not really taking on other investors, if it's only controlled by the workers,
I mean, you can still invest in it, right? I mean, I know it's going to be based on the workers. Like, if you're going to go for a socialist economy, yeah, like I don't know. I'm just not on board with them. It's not because again, like, why America is how it is because anyone can start a business, right? Basically, I can start a business of selling shirts and not having to get my funding and means of production through the state. I would rather just like go to get my own products and sell it and own that capital, own the money, own the profits of that, and not have it be through the state. So they're always going to have a hand in it in the socialist economy.
You're gonna raise the capital, you would have to assume that everybody at your company is rich, or you just cannot scale to the level that you'd like to, because now you're only owned by the employees.
I don't know. I should look at it more, or I wonder if they talk about this more, like them individually, if they
Well, to
if
the
they're
first point,
specializing
which
in that.
that's hard to scale, that is factually untrue. The seventh largest company in Spain is the Mondragon Corporation, which is a worker cooperative with over 70,000 employees. The much bigger issue, if
They're
Kate
not the U.S., so who
did
cares?
correctly point out, is getting investors involved, which is why, under my own understanding of the best way to implement this, for one, there's different types of cooperatives. One is where you take a specific firm, and the specific firm is owned by the workers in the company entirely. A secondary option is where the workers have a controlling share in the firm, but angel investors are still fully able to invest in the firm. Another option is there are like agricultural cooperatives, and there are also cooperatives like, for example,
Probably-
REI, which are owned by the people who use the company, not the people who run it directly. And in all of those cases, with the exception of the first one, you can use capitalism and use the current systems we have set up to, with minor tweaks, encourage the creation of large worker cooperatives that are more effective under every metric than traditional firms. And the way that you do this is by making it more economically efficient to invest into worker cooperatives. You can do this through tax credits, or you can do this through regulation, or you can do this through properly.
So when no one's even arguing for like a different system, he just wants a better capitalist society, which I would agree. Make there be incentive to invest in the worker than just in like the product or business. But like that's never gonna not be a thing. Like someone's gonna want to invest in things as long as capital is a thing. Everyone's gonna want to have it and gonna want to invest in the biggest thing, right?
Even just properly penalizing corporations for wage theft, which is the largest form of theft in America.
Thank you for bringing up the seventh largest company in Spain. I can guarantee you, I have no idea what it is, because the largest
And again, it's in Spain. Who cares, bro?
companies that we hear of in the United States, such as Tesla
Exactly,
and
bro.
Amazon, they're not workers and workers. I don't know what you call them, but worker-based economies. So those are not the most successful ones, and there's a reason for that. Also, companies that are
Is it because of how they run the market or with something else?
larger companies, whatever, Amazon,
I
Google.
only have 6. I thought it was like damn. I gotta really watch my inventory.
Any of those
So I could
Teslas,
have more.
government can also implement regulations for them. For example,
All
they
the
give them
little
incentives,
effects they added
if they're
now.
more
Oh, this game is so
environmentally
cool
friendly.
now.
So it gives them an incentive to not only have a good product, but also a product that they work with government along with, and that product that
I don't think I agree with the thing of like, oh, if there was basically people are gonna buy the product regardless, and there's no incentive to make the best product possible, is because there's nothing to earn. I don't think that'll make people not make good products. I don't think that's I don't think that would be true. But maybe in some ways it can get worse in some in quality, but overall I don't think so.
it gives them an incentive to not only have a good product, but also a product that they work with government along with, and that product that can help the environment. And if they have the capital for it, I think it overall creates just a better system for everybody that is controlled, that has a competition, and that there's a want to improve and also want to get.
It's just I agree, but then there's just again there's an unlimited amount of capital you can get off of having capital, and it's so hard to accumulate capital seemingly is because of the inequalities basically.
The issue with the argument for environmental regulations is a doctrine in U.S. court system known as shareholder primacy. There's a first court case in 1919, but multiple court cases after this sort of reinforce this standard, which
I
requires
have no
a business
defense
to
or
act
no
in all
help.
cases in the best interest of its shareholders. This means that it is all right it is actually encouraged, if not required, for corporations to break the law and break regulations as long as the penalty for doing so costs less than not doing it. If dumping toxic waste in the Mississippi River costs, let's say, $5 million in fines if you're caught doing that. Well, you have to factor in the odds of getting caught, which is much less than 80%, and then compare it to the amount of money that you were saving by doing it. If it is over that 5 million number, or in this case, the example I gave, 80%, so over 4 million, not only is that economically viable, you are expected to do it by the U.S. court system, in essence. Under the current structures that we've set up,
I'm so
regulations are
washed at this
completely
game.
ineffective because shareholder primacy, that is capital accumulation, is required. And if you don't follow it, not only will you fall behind, but you can have your entire life taken away from you. Government regulation is completely ineffective under that system. The punishments have to outweigh the benefits of taking anti-social action.
So one really good point that you brought up is
I need some
the
better
regulation.
weapons,
So I do think
bro.
capitalism is the best one, but a huge flaw that we currently have in our system is it's not really well properly regulated, and that's the biggest thing. I think capitalism can
Yep.
work really well, especially with entrepreneurship and just the
Mm-hmm.
overall incentive on having your own business, owning your
Mm-hmm.
own owning your
Yes,
own
it is
company,
good.
So I think the problem is the regulations and the lack thereof. Like you said, for example, the environment,
Well,
it's
I'd
not
say
really
that it might make people not, I don't know, it'll probably stop people from starting to want to make their own money. Yeah, but I don't think if you're in it and you're allowed to make the product and provide the service, I don't think that'll make you make a worse product because you don't own enough capital. You're not going to be accumulating capital.
it's not really well regulated. So I would argue that I think it's still the best, but I do think that there should be far better regulations
They both
in
agree with each
place,
other.
and there should be bigger punishments for companies that do not enforce those regulations.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you on the regulations point. The problem is capitalism stops that from happening effectively.
Ooh.
Let's look at one example, Flock, which is a company that, amongst other things, creates security cameras that can be put in cities to monitor gunfire or police location or search for potential crimes. Studies have shown that Flock left open over 60 Condor cameras around the country, which allowed for anyone to hack into them and download weeks, if not months, of data on private citizens. And the reason why this has not been effectively regulated is because there are direct government corporate partnerships enabling this to happen. And the reason why this happens is because under a capitalist system where we allow for billionaires and other singular individuals to accumulate enough power, control, and land to be able to not just buy a yacht, but buy NASA or buy off politicians, this creates a situation where the inevitable result of our current system is not just corruption, but is an active infringement on the American way of life. Flock, which is a company that, amongst other things,
So
creates
Flock.
security cameras that can be put in cities to monitor gunfire or police location or search for potential crimes. Studies have shown that Flock left open over 60 Condor cameras around the country, which allowed for anyone to hack into them and download weeks, if not.
But yeah, that's bad. But I mean, that could have happened in any other economic society or even socialism. Right? Bad things can happen. People can hack into cameras. I don't think it's capitalist fault. But he said that, but then he didn't even why. And he said oh wait, let me see.
Data on private citizens.
So that's bad.
The reason why this has not been effectively regulated
that has not been regulated because
there are direct government corporate partnerships enabling this to happen.
So they enable that to happen because, well, they know it's probably wrong, but I mean, they already hacked it, or they could be hacked or something. But I mean,
been effectively regulated is because there are direct government corporate partnerships enabling this to happen.
So you're saying they never regulated any camera, or they don't have any regulations at all? Like just oh well, we have cameras all around the world in the city. Whoever hacks it, they hacks it. I don't care. Well, good thing we're making the money because if we didn't make money, we wouldn't have them be hacked. Yeah, it's not. He's right on some points.
Is because there are direct government corporate partnerships enabling this to happen. And the reason why this happens is because under a capitalist system where we allow for billionaires and other singular individuals to accumulate enough power, control, and land.
But that how does that correlate between that company potentially having their camera hacked or whatever? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it, but I just
buy NASA or buy off politicians. This creates a situation where the inevitable result of our current system is not just corruption, but is an active infringement on the American way of life.
He was kind of heading on the right track. He could have made a good point. Why did they get away with? Actually, wait. Let me see. What was the company? I'm kind of
security cameras that can be put in cities.
Flock Safety. That's what it is.
Just changed its policy after new data shows that its Flock system was tapped hundreds of times on immigration-related issues by agencies in Ohio and outside of the state. The license plate readers are positioned at several intersections around Shaker Heights, and people in the community have spoken out against Flock safety in the community, wanting the city to either pause its contract or just get rid of it altogether.
The problem is the way the network is set up. We have no control over how other agencies are using our data.
One woman is even contemplating uninviting her family from Mexico to her wedding here next year.
My ideal scenario would be for them to get rid of it entirely.
You're scared.
I am.
Shaker Heights says the city is currently renegotiating its contract terms to create absolute limits on direct or indirect use of its Flock data. I did try to speak with the chief and the mayor, but the city is refusing to make anyone available to answer our questions.
So there are problems with it. I don't disagree. They allow it to. I mean, no, they're not. People are holding them accountable. If somebody gets hacked, or service gets hacked, are they allowing it to happen? Because they're trying to make money. Like, no, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure they care, right? I don't know if they spoke out about it. Let me see. Because yeah, that's bad, but like again, I don't think the cause is, hey, they're capitalists and they want to make money and they let it happen. I don't know. Maybe I don't know why I'm sweeping for billionaires. I don't know. I mean, who is Block Safety funded by? Block Safety was co-founded in 2017 by Garrett Langley, CEO, Paige Todd, and Math. Private held company with valued at $7.5 billion as of September 2025.
Garrett Langley started Flock Safety in 2017 after a crime in his neighborhood went unsolved. Flock is now one of the most successful companies selling to law enforcement. Owns their camera network across the roads, making drones to support police officers. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Likewise, thanks for having me.
Okay, so maybe start by describing how does the Flock product work?
Yeah. Maybe we rewind like all the way back because it's evolved. You know, so 8 years ago, living in Atlanta, and there's a fun fact is if you're in a place like Atlanta or Memphis or pick a town in the southeast, if you would just pull 10 F-150 door handles, let's call it 3 out of 10 will be unlocked, and like 1 out of 10 will have a firearm in the glove box. Just like, regardless of the firearm, your point of view on it, it's like you should keep the firearm in a safe. You should keep it in a safe, not in a glove box. Like that's just like really bad, but that's what people do. And so if you're, you know, a gang member and you're trying to obtain a firearm, like the easiest way is just like drive into a neighborhood, 6 kids, these are kids, like jump out and start pulling door handles. You don't even breaking in the car, just pulling door handles. So this happened in my neighborhood.
Always lock your door. Don't be like, oh, I'm in a safe neighborhood. Lock your doors, bro. Lock your house door. Lock your car door. Just lock it. Make it a habit, bro. I don't care if people think it's lame. I don't know. Just lock your doors.
Someone got a gun. Someone posts on Nextdoor like, oh my gosh, I forgot my gun in my car and it's now gone. And so the Atlanta Police Department comes and the major was like fairly apathetic. Like, hey, sorry, good luck. Like we're not gonna do your botch thing.
Or the key, hold on. Holy. So AI says the key investors are Andreessen Horowitz, Green Oaks Capital, Matrix Partners, blah, blah, blah. He led the funding with $275 million. A16Z is an American privately held venture capital firm headquarters in Menlo Park, California, United States, founded in 2009, blah, blah, blah. The firm is often cited as the largest and one of the most powerful venture capital funds in the world. Yep. Mark Andreessen, in particular, is often cited as one of the most powerful, but they said the same thing like 3 times. The most powerful. He has the most capital, the most powerful. Like, holy. Made the first 2 investments, one in business management, SaaS developer, and a Skype stock. Holy. Invested $10 million in the cloud company. Well, he only had 10 million because he invested in Skype. Bro, yeah. 2009 Skype. When did Skype die? Well, when Skype made? 2003? Well, the first beta version was 2003, which is basically me. So, yeah. So you just invested. How much did you put in to where it can pay off like that? To where, well, you have 2. But so who was it? Is it both of them or just one of them? What did he do? These 2 people were like, hey, we're smart. We're cool. We have some money. Let's invest in Skype and there's other things. Because we know everything. Hold on. So you see the Bachelor in Computer Science. His undergraduate interview twice. He worked at AX Graphics. Okay, so he had a job. He had money at college education. He works as a programmer earning it was in the 90s, I'm thinking. Yeah. Which holy, imagine getting 15 an hour for programming. Holy. Moved to California and worked with Enterprise Ocean Technologies, met with Jim Clark, founder of Silicon Graphics. Bro, yeah. It's just a bunch of tech guys who got lucky, who were already in the door to these big companies. You were good at your stuff, you knew connections, and you use your money to invest in the companies you knew. Holy, but yeah, damn. Good to be at the right place at the right time, bro. All that to say, this is schizo. This is stupid. All that to say is this guy, he invested in some companies. He had a friend. They invested more, got bigger, accumulated more capital, invested in bigger businesses, and then has enough money to fund and donate to be the biggest backer, the leading investor for Flock safety cameras. Now, no matter how he got his wealth, I don't know. I mean, I think he got it pretty honestly. I don't know. People say you can't have that much and be ethical or whatever. But I don't think because they're investing with all this money that they have to ignore problems because that's what it incentivizes. In the Flock case. The Flock case, maybe they might be nefarious, and it's like, oh, you know what? We don't care. We're gonna have all these surveillance cameras. If they can all get hacked, then oh well, we made our money because they're gonna pay us anyway. So, and if we tell them they're faulty, they won't want to work with us. No, like I just think if you have a good product and good service, they want to invest into you, and they're not enabling those cameras to be hacked or whatever for some nefarious capitalistic purposes. But I could be 100% wrong. He could just be right. I'm stupid, but yeah.
This creates a situation where the inevitable result of our current system is.
So I'm like, he was right. All this to say is he was still right about both those things, but they don't. My bad. I don't want to
just corruption.
Maybe like that. He's right about both those things separately, but together, no.
Like I said, I think capitalism. Yes, there are billionaires.
There's billionaires.
Owners.
No.
But at the end of the day, like they didn't get there by inheriting. Like luckily, when it comes to corporations, they didn't. It's not like monarchy. They didn't get there simply by being born into that position. So people that are billionaires, they worked hard to get there. And I do agree that of course there's a greed and there's a huge amount of wage that gets miscalculated when it comes to how much the CEO makes versus how much the employee at the bottom of the chain makes. Of course. However, it all takes time, and it'd be really hard to become a billionaire by just getting elected in that position. It doesn't work like that. So I think still billionaires, you have to work your way up to get there. You have to have good connections. You have to prove yourself. So not to argue that yes, there should be billionaires, yes, but also billionaires who do raise the level of everybody's income. So like the company that they create, nobody's forcing those people to work there. So if they don't like how much money they're getting, okay, like that's how much they're getting paid, and there's going to be a raise. However, there's no.
That's just not true. What? That's not true.
And I do think that they overall do provide people jobs, and at the end of the day, that's what we need.
Why does she do that, bro? I was on your side, but that's not good. The way they do it is not good. It's because, well, they're giving you a job. Aren't you grateful? Really? You're going to be ungrateful because he makes that much money? Don't worry about him. Stupid, worry about your own money. Come on now. He gave you a job. Like, what?
Nobody's forcing those people to work there, So if they don't like how much money they're getting, okay, like that's how much they're getting paid, and there's going to be a raise. However, there's no easy solution to this, and I do think that they overall do provide people jobs, and at the end of the day, that's
your argument for billionaires.
That's what people need. That's what capitalism's about. It's about providing jobs and just creating a competitive market.
Is it about that? No, it's about profit.
That's not true.
Come on now. Come on.
Your own argument from Jubilee, where you were in
Jubilee
House versus Millionaires, that most people that are born into a specific economic class die in that economic class. It is much less likely for someone to start out poor than someone who starts out the son of a billionaire to become a billionaire. For example, Elon Musk, his father, Errol Musk, owned an emerald mine through a handshake deal back in the 1980s.
Now, Elon Musk, he's Nepo. He don't deserve any of this. So yeah, I would say that.
Profiting off of not workers, profiting off of child slaves who were mining emeralds. And through that wealth was able to create Tesla, one of the few examples you gave of an effective corporation. This doesn't happen under a worker cooperative system. This doesn't happen under a system wherein you cannot buy off governments to allow you to have these unethical, poorly ran firms, which benefit only the people at the top.
Were they buying off the government? Like in that sense? I don't know.
This is the 99.999% versus basically just the Forbes 500.
You keep bringing up like the worker-based economy. The question is capitalism the best system? So other than the worker-based economy, do you have a different economy that you would suggest?
Say it.
Yes, a socialist market-based system. Every benefit of capitalism, competition, ability to have productive firms to respond to the consumer. So I'm arguing for a market-based system that has enough regulations and encourages democratic ownership of the means of production, democracy, which our country is founded upon, to help prevent the negative externalities of capitalism.
Democratic means of production. How does that work? A socialist economic system where resources, factories, and services are owned or controlled collectively and managed democratically by workers and the public.
So you forgot to mention was, I also mentioned how important it is to have a drive for entrepreneurship. And when it comes to socialism, there's really lack of that, because if the government, is providing, what's the need, what's the want to work hard? Why would I, if everything's provided for me?
Socialism is not when the government does stuff. It's when workers or communities or the government owns the means of production. In this case, under worker cooperatives, the firms are ran by and for working class people. And by working class people, I do mean everyone. Because I'm referring to people who work, not people who own the company in this case. So with a worker-based cooperative, you're actually looking at a fundamental solution to the principal agent problem. I don't know if you're familiar with the principal agent problem.
No, I'm not. Hold on. If I start a new company, anyone I employ must become an owner as well. What is my incentive to grow the company if my ownership percentage becomes ever diluted? True. How do I rapidly grow my company without equity markets? Would Apple, Google, Netflix, Microsoft even be possible under social ownership system? There is no incentive to start a company, and to get funded, you have to politely yeah, that's what I said earlier. Please your local bureaucratic committee and hope they give you a small loan instead of just giving it all to their dumbass nephew. Yeah, true. Equally poor unless you okay, so like become owner for big business. I ain't gonna lie, no. I think it'll be worse. No socialism. It'll be worse. Because no one's gonna want us. She's right. She's right. No one's gonna be incentivized to work or like start a business. The people who have business will have the business. The people who are with the business are gonna be a super, super, super tight clique when you really can't get in unless you're hired or you know them basically. You wouldn't just be able to like apply for like a job at Walmart. You would have to basically own part of Walmart, and that's a harder sell. Just to let some random guy own a piece of no, I'm not gonna lie, it's cooked. Y'all know socialism. Good luck, bro. If you don't like it, just go somewhere else. I don't know. It sounds mean, but like no, like really, if you don't like capitalism, there are socialist societies out there, but you can see how they fare between us and them. Like, you know, like yeah, it could be better like overall. Like in socialism, like in other countries and stuff, like everyone's kind of like the same, everyone's kind of well off, but like if you're poor, you're like actually stuck out. At least you have a chance, a somewhat of a chance in capitalism to make it out.
No, I'm not. Oh, I thought you were gonna keep talking.
Oh, wait, what you say?
Firms are ran by and for working class people. And by working class people, I do mean everyone. Because I'm referring to people who work, not people who own the company in this case. So with a worker-based cooperative, you're actually looking at a fundamental solution to the principal agent problem. I don't know if you're familiar with the principal agent problem.
No, I'm not. Oh, I thought you were gonna keep talking.
No, you have to.
So I don't agree with you. I agree to disagree. I just don't think that I would be very motivated if I lived in a socialism society. I think capitalism is better because it creates a drive to want to work your way up. And even though,
is that the only argument of capitalism or for it? Like, oh, you have the chance to work up and get better, and you can. Is that the only plus of capitalism you can give?
Say like you mentioned, Jubilee, and yes, statistically, you do end up in the class that you are born in. It still creates a drive and to want to get out of if you're in the poverty, let's say, and if you're
some can say that's a trap
and want, and
it's all
of
an
course
illusion.
not everybody's going to be able to move up, but the people that they do want to move up, they do have those they do have an opportunity. I would say if they live in a capitalist society,
American
I do think they have a higher
dream.
chance of working their way up the ladder.
Well, yeah, that is true.
Than if they lived in a socialist society or communist society.
True.
I think capitalism is creates a lot of freedom for people, and that when you have a lot more creative freedom, it's just it's easier in form of building a business, sustaining a business, and making your way to the top.
Okay, going to apologies. I passed it to you too quickly. Didn't realize that it had a 10-second cooldown timer for the principal agent problem thing.
No, you do know because he tells you.
The principal agent problem is the fundamental misalignment between the priorities of a CEO and the
Bro,
shareholders.
my weapons are so mid. Oh.
Under a capitalist economy, you are expected to try to make the most money for yourself by any means possible. For a shareholder, this means you want the company to make as much money as possible, right? But when it comes to the CEO, they're not incentivized to make the most money for the corporation. They're incentivized to make the most money for themselves. If they can make it look like they're doing the bare minimum and spend the rest of that time searching for a higher paying job, they should do that. And in fact, capitalism encourages them to do that because that's the best way for them to make the most money. Can you think of any ways that capitalism has devised to solve that? And also to sort of give you another question, because the 10-second timer, what do you think the difference between a market-based socialism economy is and a market-based capitalism economy is when it comes to motivations, and why?
I think when it comes to capitalism societies, I think there's a lot less involvement from the government. So I would say that, as you brought up earlier, with government, with these regulations, and I don't think government does a really good job when it comes to regulating like policies and when it comes to just getting regulations from the companies. So I do think that when it comes to capitalism, it's just better when yeah, when it just creates more competition and it just creates
Yeah,
overall a
but
more
that's their only point, which is fine. Yeah. That's it. That's
drive
it.
to like get more companies, get your company like franchise and stuff like that. And when it comes to socialism, I just think
But
that
again, that's the trap,
there's a
bro. That's what
lid.
they
That's
want
how
you
I
to
see it. I
do.
think there's like still the top, and you can push only so hard, and at the end of the day, there will still be a lid. And with capitalism, there is no lid. Like there, you
But
just
that could be a bad thing. Like there is no like $1 billion isn't the cap. You get to be you get to have 2 billion, 3, 4, 10. Like, that could be an issue with capitalism. It's like maybe there should be a limit. I don't know.
the more you whatever the more profit your company makes, that's for you. I think that's why it's better.
It's because you made it.
The fundamental issue in most socialist economies and also capitalist economies is the profit of the company not going directly to you, which is the issue with the principal agent problem. The way that corporations have solved this is by making the CEO a shareholder, aligning the class interest between the shareholder and the CEO. The harder the CEO works to benefit the company, the more money the CEO makes. Under a socialist economy, a socialist market-based economy, the only difference between capitalism, market-based capitalism, and market-based socialism is that all members of a corporation are partial owners of that corporation and therefore are motivated to work as hard as possible to make the company as much money, so they make money as well. The harder you work, the more money you make. It's every benefit that you think of capitalism.
But like no one's gonna have a business, bro. Who's gonna be working? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. For that to happen, like if we were to be a socialist economy tomorrow, I would have to own part of the company that I'm in. And it's like it's gonna be just a whole rework of everything. And you can have the ideas. I mean, they could be really good, but like I don't know if they'll really work here. I do agree with kind of changing how capitalism is ran and what you can and can't do with it. I agree. Whereas like in the beginning, they both are made really good points. She kind of stagnated. It's like, oh, it creates incentive to work. Yeah, okay. But he's doing a little more. He's showing all his cars now. I'm like, well, even though he made better points and was arguing his side better,
but actually provided to you in a way that capitalism does not provide.
But that's just me already having a bias against his position and me in favor of capitalism.
They make money as well. The harder you work, the more money you make. It's every benefit that you think of capitalism, but actually provided to you in a way that capitalism does not provide.
The important thing to think about is also how large are these companies we're talking about. Are these companies 40 employees, 400 employees, or 4,000 employees? Because when it comes to shareholders, yes, it's easy to make a decision when you have only 40 people that are in charge. It's a lot harder to make a decision when you have 4,000 employees, and to get 4,000 employees to agree, I think it's a lot harder. And also, let's say you only have okay, do you want the mic? And I think also
No.
it's a lot harder to get investors. Let's say if your company is really small, 40 people, your company's small, it's a lot harder to attract investors in order to franchise your company.
I mean, if they have a lot of money,
it depends on
maybe
the
not.
size of the company, and of course, there's benefits to some. Maybe the worker-based companies, and it does work, but it depends, I think, on the size.
Really?
Yeah. We're talking about in certain cases, corporations are larger than 70,000 employees, larger than most traditionally run firms by a large margin. And that sort of comes back to the basic problem with capitalism. Then in some cases, you are
Hurry, 5 seconds,
incentivizing
go.
behaviors that are destructive to society, whether it's surveillance.
Got him.
Oh, it cut out. Well, I do agree, yes, of course, that in some ways it is destructive. But again, it depends on the company, what size, and what the company really does.
True. Because holy meat points, you have to turn the music down. Love your meat points. Debate is over, but the conversation isn't.